During his rule, Joseph Stalin practically would build a cult to his name. He succeeded Lenin, an old colleague and beloved friend.
That old fool Lenin is finally dead. Now, power is all mine.
He would valiantly and courageously lead his country through the Great Patriotic War.
Implement Order 227. All those cowards and traitors who try to flee must be shot. And send prisoners to the lines as fodder. We can replace them.
He would be renowned as the hero of factory workers and farmers, as far as the eye can see.
The agriculture will be collectivized, and the food will be sent to the factory workers.
What about all the peasants working the land?
Get this man out of my office!
And no one living heard a word against him.
Those Jews, their doctors had a plot to foil me. Round up all the Jewish doctors in Moscow and send them to gulags. And the rest of the doctors. And officials opposing me. You don't just get anyone intellectual. They could be trying to topple me too.
But sir, is that a great idea? We could use some of the smart people.
Take this man away too!
After his long and glorious rule, Soviet leaders were in a frenzy over what to do next. It is to this end I investigate how the Soviet government dealt with the death of Stalin. Over time, Stalin's health began to decline. He was stressed from the World War and its ensuing politics, and he was an avid smoker of cigars. In 1953, it all caught up to him. A cerebral hemorrhage would kill him in his office. The death of this powerful man left a vacancy in Soviet power. In my investigation, I traveled to the Soviet Union in order to interview the man who vied for power in this intense vacuum left by Stalin. I was granted a rare audience with Nikita Khrushchev, current leader of the Soviet Union, to get his take on the story.
After Stalin died, Lavrenti Beria, our Minister of Internal Affairs, tried to take power.
That fool thought himself Stalin's rightful successor, and unfortunately for me, he had power over the police, both regular and otherwise. In order to make sure he didn't become too powerful, I had to take care of him.
Beria drew the ire of Khrushchev and many others through his controversial reforms. Over 1 million prisoners were let free under him, and he even proposed uniting the two halves of Germany. Beria knew he would have to eliminate his rivals in the party at some point. However, events did not work out in his favor. Khrushchev had called a meeting of the Politburo.
Mr. Beria, you're a traitor and a spy sent by those nasty Britons.
What is going on, Nikita? Why are you saying these treacherous things?
Because it's true, you traitorous rat!
Beria knew the cards were stacked against him, so he turned to his old friend.
Please, Malenkov, my old friend, please save me from these accusations.
At the signal of a button pressed by Malenkov, Marshal of the Soviet Union Georgy Zhukov and a group of officers entered to arrest Beria. At his trial, Beria was not allowed counsel for defense and was found guilty of treason for attempting to initiate peace talks with Germany during World War II and for counter-revolutionary activities during the Russian Civil War.
The coming 5 years, and also takes the occasion to denounce his one-time second-in-command, Lavrenti Beria, as an agent of capitalist imperialism.
In his last moments, Beria was reduced to a pleading wreck, but he was executed anyway.
Next, Malenkov was in the way.
In my extensive search, I also found Georgy Malenkov, who is currently managing a hydroelectric plant in Kazakhstan.
Look what they've done to me. I'm sitting near the middle of nowhere while Khrushchev's trying to assassinate. We are taping.
Yes.
Georgy Melenkov immediately succeeded Stalin as de facto leader of the Soviet Union, but he wouldn't remain in that position for long. Melenkov instituted reforms to agriculture, shifting focus to consumer goods to help raise the standard of living. However, the reforms proved to be disastrous for him.
What do you mean tax cuts for peasants? We can't keep up with the cost of these policies.
All right. I'll roll back the reforms for now.
Melenkov's attempts to keep the party in his good graces were not enough, and he was soon replaced by Khrushchev.
He was ineffective. That's all there was to it. Then when I got in office, he tried to throw me out.
All in favor of voting Khrushchev out of the Politburo? All opposed?
Now hold on. You hooligans are being anti-party with this foolishness. How can you expect a motion like this to even pass without all of the committee here?
How ridiculous. What kind of armies do you have to resist our majority? My army.
Khrushchev had garnered the support of Zhukov in the military. Using this leverage, Zhukov spoke in support of Khrushchev.
The army does not support this anti-party foolishness.
Melenkov was at the end of his road, and both he and Molotov were expelled from the Politburo.
That's when I was made the manager of a hydroelectric plant. It's terrible. I lost all the power I had. At least it's not as stressful.
But what happened to Mr. Molotov? What is it?
Man was tossed out of the Politburo and made the ambassador of Mongolia. At least I don't suffer that badly.
Despite what Mr. Melenkov says, both he and Molotov are now long since expelled from the Communist Party.
Finally, I had secured power. Or so I thought. I feel Zhukov was a growing threat to me, so I had the Politburo dismiss him while he was touring the Balkans.
After dealing with another political rival, Nikolai Bulganin, Khrushchev had at long last become the sole leader of the Soviet Union.
Stalin's policies need to come down and his evils exposed to the Union.
The Soviet Union began to turn to de-Stalinization. In the previously mentioned secret speech, Khrushchev exposed to his fellow party members the true nature of Stalin's cult of personality. He called Stalin paranoid instead of glorious. Reportedly, some people in the hall grew ill, and most left amazingly confused. Everything they had known about the glorious leader had just been torn down and slandered. In the ensuing time, the Soviet Union began to thaw out from Stalinism. Khrushchev opened the country to international trade, which started a growing focus on consumerism. He even began thawing relations with the United States, visiting there in 1959. Unfortunately, the U-2 incident sank any further chance of relations.
People does say, not everyone likes your reforms.
Well, yes, of course, I will always have enemies. But I've taken care of foes before, and I think I can take care of a few more.
He could not. It was not long after my interview with Mr. Khrushchev that Khrushchev was taken out of office by Leonid Brezhnev. I believe I have found my answers. Stalin's death proved to be a turning point for the Soviet Union. Gone were the days of one man being treated like a god. Stalin's cult of personality and paranoid ruling were over, and the Soviet Union had opened up to the world. The reforms made by Khrushchev were rolled back by Brezhnev, but their mark had been made. Future Soviets, and everyone on this earth for that matter, will look to them and think that the Soviet Union can in fact change. This Cold War will end someday, and the chain of events that will end it will be in no small part begun by the death of Stalin. That is a wrap on me and Brody's EP World project. This video is going to be over 10 minutes long. So, think about that. You just wasted 10 minutes of your life watching that. I know, it sucks. First things first, here are sources. Look at those sources. Those are some nice sources. And next things next, I'm gonna give a short synopsis of why we chose this topic. We thought the aftermath of Stalin's death and the politics and tension between Stalin's cabinet was an interesting idea and topic. And so we decided to put it in a documentary format, and that's what you just watched. There's a longer version of that in that little essay right there. read it if you will. And I'm hoping I'm having a great day that day, and I hope you guys are having a great day that day.